Kari, tell us a little bit about your weekend. What's on your mind? What's happening with vendors?
So, okay, well, this past week, it's been, I guess, leading up to the wedding, there was like a chance of rain. So it was a little chaotic. It was like sunny all week. And then like Saturday, Sunday were supposed to be rain. And like I was watching 5 different weather apps, and all of them are so different, which is really fascinating to me. Like Apple weather was like 0% chance. And then all these other ones, and then it would like change daily. It would be like 60% the next day. But then I was following other apps that were like breaking down the hourly, and it was all like a really minimal chance throughout the day. And then the evening, which was like our main portion, like 5 to 9 was like the main stuff happening outside. So it was a little chaotic, like all week coming up with rain plans. Ours was more easy because we could just like move everything inside, but that had to be obviously a decision made like morning of or the day before. Luckily, we didn't have to bring in like rentals and tents and like all this other stuff. So that was a lot of stress, and just like working with other vendors to have a plan B. And also, the weather app was saying wind gust up to 20 miles an hour, which is also, if you're a planner, you know that wind gusts are like more the nightmare than rain, I feel like.
And let's remember that you're in Southern California. So it's not like you go into planning a wedding thinking about the rain plan right away. It's unlikely that it's going to rain ever.
And honestly, we knew the plan B, and I drew up plans to move everything inside last week because the week prior it was like sunny and nice, and then it shifted suddenly. So yeah, the wind was also something. So I'm talking to the florist about that because we had these like tall hurricane candles that I was like, they were going to be glued down to the table anyway because it was like a fire code thing. But I'm like, still with 20-mile-an-hour winds, it's like that stuff's not staying up. So anyway, I think beforehand it's like talking with all of those vendors and just kind of, as the planners, like our job to alert everyone. Obviously, usually they're watching the weather as well, but it's like our job to be like, hey, here's plan B. Let's talk about X, Y, and Z to make sure like we can avoid any issues. So there was a lot of that with like the venue, the florist, photography, stuff like that. And then also navigating the client. She was very stressed out about this day being ruined by the wind, the rain, like not getting the photo she wants. And also the groom had told me on a separate text message that like family, I think, was also in her ear being like, you should have done this wedding a couple weeks later. And it's like, that is not helpful information.
What?
They're just like, you shouldn't have done it so like in this like time frame of spring, like you should have gotten closer to summer. And it's like, that is not helpful the week of the wedding. Like,
no
advice for family members and friends: if you don't have anything helpful to say the week of the wedding, just don't say it. It's not necessary. So I mean, there was a lot of reassurance on my end to the bride and groom to be like, this day is going to be magical no matter what happens. Like, you have a great team of vendors in place, we're all working together. And I think that is helpful for the couple, right? To know that all of their vendors are working together to make sure that the day goes smoothly and is like perfect for them. However, on the day of the wedding, it like sprinkled kind of throughout the day. And like the morning, the sun came out, it was like beautiful. So the rain really wasn't an issue, but it did get pretty windy. And one thing that the client does not know is that we had this like 12-foot by 8-foot tall seating chart wall with shelves on it. And there were these like little boxes of candies that had like everyone's name and table number. They were all alphabetized. We had them up nicely, and it was all like ready to go. And probably like 2 hours before cocktail hour started, a huge gust of wind came, and like the whole thing fell over, and like the boxes went everywhere. I was like about in tears, but I will say the one thing that was like really amazing is like as soon as it fell, because everyone was like, what was that sound, right? Because like no one was like near it. Thank God, because I'm glad it didn't fall.
Yeah.
But like everybody ran to help, like the floral team, the venue staff, like my staff, like everyone was there. And I'm 8 months pregnant, and they're like, get up, like, get off the ground. And they're like, please don't go into labor.
Seriously.
I was like about to like I was so stressed out. And at the end of it, like everyone worked as a team, like everyone stopped what they were doing to like get this picked up. Luckily, like all of the boxes were fine. We just had to like reattach and like reorganize the names, and like we had extra candy so we could fill up the boxes again.
Oh, good.
We got the wall moved to a different location. The rental company actually had to come back because it was a liability on their end. They like didn't leave enough sandbags. And the guy that came back was actually like really pissed off that his team didn't secure it properly. And so we got the wall moved. It actually was to a better location and it looked amazing in the end. But like my team and the floral team, like really, even the catering staff, like everyone was on their knees, like organizing boxes, like picking up candy as quickly as possible, because I didn't want anyone from the wedding to see this on the ground. And luckily, like everyone was still at the church when this happened, so
You're like blowing off pieces of candy with dirt. 5-second rule, it's all good.
Oh my gosh, I'm just so glad the couple like had extra candy, like as a backup.
Why does this never happen before we set up the beautiful details on these walls? It always happens when it's looking perfect.
And like the crazy part is, so like everyone got it organized. My team like refilled the candy boxes, alphabetized everything, got it back up on the shelf. It looked great. Like nothing broke, but that was like one of the most stressful things. But also everyone came together and just like dropped what they were doing to like get this back up, you know?
I'll be honest, Kari, I thought when we were, because please everybody know that we did not discuss this before we started recording. So I didn't know what the story was going to be. I thought this was going to be a vendor scolding. But this is a happy vendor story.
Yeah, happy vendor story. And I'm like so thankful that I like had good relationships with all these people. And even the catering staff that I did not know, like just rushed in to help. And I just feel like sometimes that doesn't always happen. Like those people could have been like, well, we have our own things to set up and florals. And like, we didn't have the bandwidth to like do that on our own. And so I'm just really grateful that people were like, no, we're going to help. We have the time. Like even the floral team, she had a big team there. And she's like, we have the time to like help you guys get this done. And so I think it's like the power of like, just because you're there to do your job doesn't mean that like you can't step in and help other people when they're in a crisis, or even if you have like a little extra time on your hands. And I'm good friends with the florist, but she was like just standing around. She's like, do you need anything? And I was like, can you help with this? And she was like, yeah, we got it. And they like helped put out table numbers, and we had to like glue them down because it was so windy. And it's just like little things like that that are so helpful. And I just think it goes a long way to making the day smoother. And like we talked afterwards and she's like, girl, it's a team effort. Like we're all there to support one another and like get the job done so that it's going smoothly for everybody.
Well, it makes her job, like it's going to make her portion of the wedding look good if the rest of it looks good. Like if the table numbers are flying on top of her flower arrangements, that's ruining her. And I'm not saying she's doing it in the selfish way to make her job look good. Like she is truly jumping in to help. But yeah, that's so good to know, because I think this goes to show how important it is for us as planners to build relationship with each individual type of vendor. And I understand even more in this situation why planners have a very small list of vendors that they want to work with time and time again, because those people will have their back. They're their ride or dies. They will jump in gale force winds and help you out. But what happens when your client comes to you and says, hey, I want to use this florist from Colorado, while their work is great, you don't have a working relationship with them. You don't know if they're going to be there in a pinch to help out, or are they just going to drop off and leave, you know? And it's not necessarily their job to stay around and ask if they can help, but man, it goes a long way, because I think you would do the same thing if your portion of the day was going so well and then all of a sudden florals were like flying out of vases for whatever reason. I'm sure you and your team, if you could, you'd jump in and help out.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where I remember like we don't have anything else to do, and I've offered to help the florist like set out candles. We light the candles, and like they're so grateful because maybe like the ceremony installation took longer than they thought. And so it's little things like that just goes both ways, because I'm like, I'm never just going to have my team stand around. So if the florist is like a little bit behind, I'm like, what do you need? I have like an extra assistant. She can help, put out florals or candles or whatever it is. And I think all of this to say the seating chart fiasco, it turned out great. It looked great. The clients do not know about this. And as they were lining up for the grand entrance, granted, a lot of the boxes were like taken by the guest already, but the bride was like, oh my God, this seating chart looks so incredible. And I was just like, it totally does. And
Even
it really
more so.
did. Like you never would know, like we fixed the issue, but it was one of those moments where I'm just like, how does this giant wooden wall get knocked over? And I'm just grateful that those boxes, like they were just like acrylic boxes.
Yeah.
Like they didn't break and like shatter everywhere. So we recovered nicely, but it definitely, and again, that took a lot of extra time away from my team, which is why the floral team stepped in to like help put out table numbers and different things like that.
Yeah. No, that's so good to hear. I was going to ask you, do you have core values for your business? Is that an exercise you've ever done? And do you know what they are off the top of your head?
I have done that, and I do have like a statement listed on my website. I have listed out core values. I can't recite them off the top of my head.
Well, I only asked because there's a caterer in town, the one that I work for from time to time, and I think about their core values all the time. They are be kind, which is obvious, always willing, which I like because they're always willing to jump in, whether it's for their team, their own team member, a planner, a florist, like always willing, do the right thing. Which is a good one because it's like, yeah, if you're a server and you're standing around because cocktail hour doesn't start for 30 minutes and a seating chart goes down, are you just going to cross your arms and look at it? Or are you going to do the right thing and jump in and ask if you can help? And then the other one is empower, because they want their team members to be empowered to take ownership of a section, or the water station looks like it's empty. It's not mine, but I'm going to jump in and help out. And so anyway, I like kind of want to copy all of their 4 core values, because I'm like, this is actually, it's not about like be creative. I mean, but that's not the core value. It's like genuinely, these are how you are going to set yourself apart and make a really great impression on everybody you work with.
Yeah, it's like being one step ahead. And I feel like the core values comes down to like working hard, but like, again, working together with other people, right? Like this isn't a solo job that you show up for. Like producing a wedding is such a team effort from like every single person, from like the security guard to the valet. Like you're all working together to make this happen. And I think even going back to talking about just the bride being a little more anxious about what the day was going to hold for the weather, that was also something like I texted the photographer just to give her a heads up, like didn't tell her everything, but I'm like, I just want you to be able to show up and like reassure her, make her calm on the day, right? Because I think if they know what they're walking into, and granted, she was much more calm the day of. I think she felt better. But also, like, for the photo video team to just, like, show up and be like, we're going to have a great day. We're going to get all the photos you want, like, no matter the weather. And I just think that's, like, so good for those team members to be able to show up knowing, like, we need to calm her down. And, like, we're going to do that because that's our job. Like, we are going to show them, like, this is going to be a great day.
Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, I think vendor to vendor and vendor to client, of course, being positive and reassuring is what they need. That is why they hired us. And I'm also really careful. I think you and I have talked about this, that to not say things like, oof, this is going to be a doozy, or, oh, this is such a long day, or this, like this is our jobs. We are choosing this. And I have been guilty of saying that, or like this venue like is the worst, or whatever it is. Like the client, this is their dream wedding setting. They chose all of these people. This is for them. We will do our very best to make sure it comes out exactly how they want. And I think being a leader, like a project leader as an event planner, we need to set that tone. And I want to be better also at giving people feedback on the day, good and bad, but just helpful in the sense of like, if someone is moping around, to take them aside and say, hey, I'm sorry you're having a bad day, but this is their best day. So I really need you to rally and turn that frown upside down. Go take a vape break if you must, and then come back with a happy face, because it affects like the vendor moods affect the whole team.
And I mean, even my client at one point was like, how's everything going? And I was like, it's going great. And it really was. And she's like, you probably wouldn't tell me anyway. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. But I was like, truthfully, everything is going great. It's looking beautiful. But I think that's a big part of our job. Even the fires I'm putting out behind the scenes are not things I'm going to ever burden them with. Because, like, the seating chart wall, maybe down the road that would be funny to them. But I'm just like, it's not anything that's like relevant for them to know, because everything turned out fine, right? And so, yeah, I think like we have to stay calm, even in the moments where you're like, feel chaotic, because I feel chaotic sometimes on the day of, just because we're running around doing a million things. People are constantly like, where's Kari? Where's Gabby? Like, I have a question for them, you know? And so like, I think just human nature, like our minds are overloaded. And so we feel chaotic even if the day is going smoothly. But I think that's always been a strength of mine, just to like be calm around everyone, even if internally I'm like freaking out.
That's us type B planners. Here we are.
Yeah. Anyway, all that to say, I feel like if you can show up to be a team player, like maybe rethink how you're showing up in your business. I think this isn't a solo, even though you have a solo job a day of, it's like we are all in this together, because if one thing falls apart, everything starts to fall apart.
So true. So true. Domino effect.
Yeah. So all that to say, I mean, I think this is a good ending spot. We wanted to talk about, you know, collaboration, working as a team, and just a reminder for people as wedding season ramps up to just be a team player and like open communication, talk to your vendors, even if you feel like, you know, you've asked all the questions. If you have other questions, ask the planner ahead of time. Like, make sure you're on the same page, and just like Gabby said, core values, be kind, be willing to like go above and beyond, because at the end of the day, we're all, you know, making this happen for our clients. So
we are. And at the end of the day, Jabbers, we need you to write us some 5-star reviews, because Cheetos, that one-star review is still there. We need to bump them up. But no, seriously, if you guys like our content, we will always continue to bring you some free episodes here once a week. And we would just love a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you have the time to even write a few words, that would be amazing. We would be so grateful to you. You can also find us on Substack. We post a weekly article and then a monthly bonus episode for the paid subscribers on there. So as always, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey Jabbers, we are back this week with a fun kind of random episode. Gabby and I wanted to talk a little bit about vendor collaboration. I had some stuff happen this past weekend with a wedding where I guess like it was reiterated on like the value of a team player, and like collaboration, and how to work together as a team on the wedding day, and not just on the wedding day, but in the planning process as well. A little bit about the wedding and a few stories that happened, and Gabby and I are just going to share our thoughts on like what it means to show up and how to work together as a team on your client's wedding day.
I can't wait to hear about this story.